Welcome back into Blue Collar Sports. We're down here in the Pulse Radio Studio at Boise State University for segment number 3 of our 2-hour show. Again, you're listening to Blue Collar Sports. We are every 2 hours from Tuesday to Thursday from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. We appreciate you guys tuning in. It's our 109th show ever, and we are joined in here with special guest Dylan McGee. Dylan, you been having fun so far?
Oh, yeah. 9 out of 10, I'd say.
9 out of 10. We'll try to get that to a 10 out of 10 during this segment.
Yeah.
But I'm co-host Seth Newell, joined here with co-host Trevor Brennan. Time to move to some NFL talk. There's just still a lot going on in the NFL world.
Absolutely. Let's start it off with the NFL offseason, where it began with the free agents. Big free agency this season. It's been incredible. Now as we look towards the NFL draft, which is under a month away, I can't wait for that. But let's go over the big winners and losers of the NFL free agency. Me and Seth kind of talked about what teams we liked and what losers we liked. I did like the Jets, Colts, Browns, and Chiefs as my big winners. Then losers were kind of Le'Veon Bell himself, and then the Baltimore Ravens didn't like what he did. But I want to hear both of you guys. I know after seeing what all transpired, I want to see you still got the big winners or if you got new losers out of what's happened.
I got 3 teams I love and 2 teams that I hated from this free agency. And I'll start off with the teams I thought had the worst, and that would be the Packers by losing their defense and Randall Cobb. And then Seahawks that really didn't pick up anyone, lost Earl Thomas, one of the best safeties in the NFL. And then you saw the Raiders getting Antonio Brown and Trent Brown. Trent Brown, his father played for the Browns, if you didn't know that. Cool story, a ref threw a flag in his eye and he went blind and pretty much tackled the ref once.
Wow.
Yeah,
I have not heard that story.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting. You should see the video. But then they improved their defense with Vontaze Burfict and LaMarcus Joyner. And if you know much about football, Antonio Brown and Vontaze have had a little bit of...
That's Steelers-Bengals.
Yeah, Steelers-Bengals. So there's a little bit of...
Bad
like some bad luck with that.
Practice is going to be crazy.
Yeah, they'll have to get over a couple of humps and whatnot, but I think by the beginning of the season, they'll be fine. They're teammates. So... the Jets, they got Le'Veon Bell, obviously. That's a great move. And T.J. Mosley, who's an awesome linebacker. He did play for the Ravens, but now he's a Jet.
So you like their offseason?
Yeah. I'm sure you like it as well.
I did, for the most part.
And then the team that I thought improved the most were the Cleveland Browns. They got Odell Beckham Jr., who's a great wide receiver, and they already have Jarvis Landry. And if you don't know, both of them played at LSU, and both played around... They both were the same class. They went to similar high schools, practiced at the same camps, whatnot. And then Sheldon Richardson and a player who might not be playing until midseason is Kareem Hunt. And they do already have 2.
I think he did get suspended for, I think it was like 8 games.
8 games,
like that. But I mean, that's still,
Nick Chubb.
They'll be in it at that point. And Nick Chubb's going to be their guy. I think he's going to kind of be their guy moving forward. So those 3 other teams, you like the Browns. You like the Jets and the Raiders. The Browns, I'm not quite sold on the Browns yet. I do like what they did. I think they'll contend for a wild card. So of course they'll contend for the division. I still do have Pittsburgh win this division and it's actually a reason why I'm not a huge fan of the Jets free agency. I like the Jets, and I like that they got Le'Veon Bell, but it worries me just because of everything, how it happened in Pittsburgh. And I don't want anything like that, especially in New York, where everything's over dramatic and everything's exaggerated to an even more degree. So I worry about that, but I think Le'Veon Bell seems happy there. But we'll see if the season goes well, how that transpires. But for Cleveland, I think it's really good for Odell to have Jarvis there. But Odell, he worries me. And when I look at all these NFL rosters, the teams that win the Super Bowls, the teams that were all in contention, none of them are really built around a star receiver. And so I think receivers are kind of overpaid. That's why I wasn't a big fan of the Raiders going after and getting Antonio Brown, or the Browns going after and getting Odell Beckham. I do think that, I would have done that trade if I was the Browns. They didn't give up a whole lot, and they got, obviously, a star receiver. But it worries me when a team is built around receivers, especially with a young quarterback like Baker Mayfield. It's going to be one of the more entertaining things of the year.
To me, the Browns and the Raiders are very similar teams, both uber talented. But I believe the locker room is going to be a big situation, a big dilemma that they're going to have to attack and overcome because I could see both teams having great, stellar years, but I could see the locker rooms getting a little dysfunctional. On the Browns side, I think they're a little bit I like what they're building. I do like Baker Mayfield's kind of won me over a little bit in his first year. Now he's got great weapons with Odell and Jarvis, and then Their running backs are going to be fantastic, and they're building very nice defense. Sheldon Richards is a great player, so I like what they're building there. If Odell and Jarvis can kind of keep the off-the-field issues away from the game, I think they're going to have a great season. I don't have them winning the division. I could see them getting a wild card, though. And then the Raiders, I'm just very worried that Gruden's going to bring a lot. He's already a big personality, but now you bring another big personality in Antonio Brown, some big personalities in LaMarcus Joyner, Vontaze Burfict. Yeah. There's a lot of big-time names in that locker room, in that facility. I'm a little worried it could either work really well or kind of explode. Derek Carr, I think he's a great leader, but having all those kind of guys around him, I think it could drive him a little bit crazy, and I don't know if it's going to work per se, but I do hope it does. I want to see them be good this next year.
I like Gruden. I didn't like what he really did in year one, but I've always liked him as the Eagles fan now, so I do want to see the Raiders succeed. But going back to the Browns, you like their offseason. How far is their ceiling this year? Do you see them as a Super Bowl contender yet?
No, that's a little bit exaggerating, but I just want to go on the past. So 2016, 2017, 1-15.
Yeah.
2017, 2018, 7-8-1. But now you add Odell Beckham into the mix with Kareem Hunt midway through the season. That kind of completes their offense. And we saw last year with the Rams and their offensive scheme how great the NFL is making. It's almost like comparing it to the NBA. The NBA is a three-point game now, but the NFL is an offensive game now. And with the Rams last year, they just had
I saw something different in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, definitely.
But all year long with the Rams and Chiefs, yeah.
This just kind of completes their offense. You got Baker, he's going to be in his sophomore year. You saw what he did last year. You got Odell and Jarvis, the wide receivers for the spots. You got David Njoku still, correct?
Yeah.
I like him. He's one of the best tight ends. He might be the best tight end now in football. I don't know if there's a lot. Gronk's gone, so
Kelsey's still up there.
Kelsey's still up there. I do still like Kelsey.
Zach Ertz.
But
yeah, Zach Ertz.
Receiving Zach Ertz, yeah. Okay. He's not the best blocker, but receiving wise, yeah.
Yeah, and then with the running back, I think their offense is complete now, and I do understand the off-field situations with Odell Beckham and whatnot, but I could see Jarvis really helping him down, calming him down, since they do have chemistry for the past 8 years, I think now. Yeah. So they've known each other for a long time, and I think Jarvis is really going to help him on and off the field as well.
And I know, Trevor, I know you're not a big fan of Baker Mayfield.
No.
Coming out. He wasn't my favorite quarterback when he came out. I didn't think he should be the number one pick, but I do like his leadership. I actually think it fits this team well. I think Odell's going to, he's going from a completely different situation in New York. Mm-hmm. Got Eli Manning, who's not very expressive and just kind of does his own thing. Baker Mayfield's going to go out there and he's going to play hard. He's going to show it. And that's what it does kind of worry me, because he's a lot like Odell. And I don't know if I see a one stern worker. I think I could see Jarvis like that. Mm-hmm. But that normally has to come from the quarterback spot. But I do think that Odell is going to love playing with Baker, and I think that could help. I think Odell is going to love it there. I just worry if they lose a couple games in a row, what the locker room is going to be like.
Exactly.
Once, if they lose 3 games in a row, if fingers start to get pointed, and that's when it could be just like a Pittsburgh Steelers situation.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see what's going to happen this year. I wish they did a Hard Knocks this season on the Browns, and I wish it went in the entire regular season, because I could see them having big ups and big downs. I just want to see what's going on in that locker room, because it's going to be fantastic. It's a real TV show of what's going to happen with the Browns this year.
I'm excited to hear the Hard Knocks with the Raiders.
Is it with the Raiders this year?
I think they do it every single year.
I would love to see that, because great. But they're not in Vegas, though. They're going to...
Still in Oakland.
They'll be Vegas.
Where are they playing at?
Next year.
They're at the same stadium. I think they were able to figure it out.
They're able to figure out one more lease on the Coliseum.
I believe so.
But it's going to be interesting to see with the new rule change now. We're going to get to that now. Big-time news in the NFL world, probably, I believe, just yesterday, I believe it was yesterday. New pass interference rule. I'm guessing this is in direct result of the NFC Championship game. But now pass interference plays are challengeable. Coaches could challenge it, and then they could change. They could throw a flag on a pass interference that they didn't see originally. Big time change here. What is your guys' take on this?
This is a huge overreaction from one play that occurred last year. I know it was a big missed call, but this is a much bigger overreaction that can change the game, honestly, if they don't fulfill what they really want this to happen. Coaches can throw a flag on any play, because there's almost a hold on every single play of the game. And so if they're doing that, they're slowing the game down. I don't want to see that. It's going to draw away a lot of viewers. We want to see a sped up game, and we want to see the game going along. I mean, once you slow down almost every play, you can see a lot of hand touching receivers and DBs, and you almost can call everything on there. So I don't like this rule at all. It's going to slow the game down. It's an overreaction from one play, and there's a penalty almost on every play, but you don't want to call it. You can't call every single thing. It's got to be the ref's job to call it on the field. You can't let it go and then go back to it. I think it's just going to slow everything down. I don't like it at all.
What's your thoughts on that, Dylan?
Trevor is pretty spot on with how I feel about it. Just like every offseason with the NBA and NFL, they always come up with something new to complain about and make a rule about to try to reverse it. Mm-hmm. And it's just a trend. As technology starts to increase, as time goes by, we start to figure out ways how we could work around things and slow down the game, which really sucks. I just think you gotta suck it up and move on to the next play. And leagues are just getting softer now, especially with these new things. You can stop the game, go look at it for 20 minutes, and then you just
can't be no defense anymore.
Yeah, and so it just gets boring. It gets boring to watch, and I just think it's a terrible new rule, especially with the new what was that? It was what happened with Des Bryant, 2012.
Oh, he got a Cowboys
catch rule.
Right here, the catch rule.
It was a catch. It never hit the ground.
Absolutely,
it might have moved, but it never hit the ground. But I'm just saying,
that was definitely a catch.
Yeah, then they got to go look at that again. I just think he's got to deal with it. Ending their season, and then he's got to look forward to next season, I guess.
No, I love that you say you got to suck it up and move to the next play, because that's why I like the Saints. I'm a big fan of the Saints. Not my favorite team, I'll say, but I've always liked Saints. I love Drew Brees.
Yeah, you were on them all season long.
And I picked them from the beginning of the year to win the Super Bowl. I was on them all year. I am sick and tired of this franchise now. Not necessarily the franchise. Well, it's sort of the franchise. They're to blame, too, because they've been
fans
very
are pretty
vocal
bad about it, too.
But the fans, I mean, suck up, move to the next play. They had so many chances after that play to win the Super Bowl. They went into overtime after that play had happened and had the ball. All they had to do was go score a touchdown, and they're going to the Super Bowl. The play was over. They obviously didn't do it. Rams come down and score. They win the game, and it's over. Then they immediately go blame the refs. I'm so sick and tired. I saw when this rule was made yesterday, the Saints Twitter account tweeted out a GIF of Sean Payton just smiling, and GIF, whatever you guys call it. So I can never remember that. But I thought that was just, I don't know, it's pathetic. I think this is, like I said, an exaggeration to one play. And I hate this rule.
Yeah, it's not going to work. I don't think it's going to work out in the league's favor. I know after this season, they are going to review this rule in the offseason once again, and hopefully they're going to see it's going to have too much of an impact on the games, and it's going to slow it down, and then they take it away next year, and that's what I hope to see. I could definitely see it being a big problem in the early games, kind of like the catch rule or the PI we saw this past season. It's a big part of the season early on, but then afterwards it kind of dwells down. It isn't a big part of the game, but hopefully it isn't at all, and they change it next season.
Well, Dylan, we got you for 5 more minutes here, and we talked about the NBA draft a little bit in segment number 1. Again, if you missed that, it is on our Twitter page right here. But now moving to the NFL draft, who are some of your favorite prospects this year, and how do you see the draft playing out?
Well, I'm going to go with Kyle Murray, Dwayne Haskins, and Nick Bosa.
As your 3 favorite?
Yeah, my top 3 favorite.
Okay.
So we obviously saw Josh Rosen last year on the Cardinals and how he's probably the worst rookie quarterback last year, and he just didn't fit the system. Yeah, I just don't think he fit the system. And Kyler Murray's coming out of the same college, Oklahoma, as Baker Mayfield, and he's quicker than Baker Mayfield. He was a baseball player like Patrick Mahomes, so you see those little sidearm passes he does. So I'm really stoked about him. I can see him flipping this franchise around, just like how Baker did this past year. And then with Dwayne Haskins coming out of Ohio State, he was projected to go number 9 to the Dolphins, and
I think he'll go before that.
Yeah, and
that's low.
Yeah, and so he's just a great overall quarterback. He reminds me of Ben Roethlisberger, not mentality-wise.
He's got the build, yeah.
Yeah, he's got the build and the arm as well. But so I do like him a lot. And then the same player out of Ohio State, Nick Bosa.
Yeah. I like Nick Bosa a lot. Yeah. Dwayne Haskins is my favorite quarterback in this draft. I want him to go to New York. I thought it'd be perfect for him. Now that Odell's gone, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. But do you have Kyler Murray? Do you think he will go number 1?
I definitely will think he'll go number 1.
I still have Kyler Murray number 1. That is going to happen. It seems like Cliff Kingsbury's talking about Kyler Murray almost every single day now. It's going to be a surprise if they don't take Kyler Murray now. and they're going to let a lot of fans down if they don't do that. So what they need to do right now is get rid of Josh Rosen, draft Kyler Murray number 1. I want the Patriots to trade for Josh Rosen right now. Trade that 32nd pick, get a backup quarterback. He can sit for 2 years under Tom Brady. He will be a great asset to that team. And the Cardinals, to get a first overall pick with their quarterback, and then 32nd, they got to get some more offensive pieces to help them.
Now we're going to move into kind of the deep before we got just a couple minutes left. But looking at any potential sleepers for you in this year's draft. We've talked a lot about on the show, a lot of the big guys. Haven't quite touched on the big time sleepers. Any guys you think could rise up, or if they fall, some guys that will really surprise you?
I don't know. This draft is kind of seems
Defense heavy?
Yeah, defensive, very defense heavy, and not like last year with all the quarterback drama and controversy and all that. So it kind of just seems more of a relaxed draft. So it's really hard to tell who's gonna stand out. But just like Joey Bosa, I think Nick Bosa will make a big impact no matter where he goes. He's just competitive, just like his brother. So I can see it being the best defensive player out of this draft.
Yeah, I had him at 1, too. He really won me over at the Combine. Trev, you have any sleepers for this draft?
I don't know if I have any sleepers. My number 1 player, though, is Quinnen Williams still. Still big time on him. I hope he goes to the Jets. He would be a great part of that team. I really like the 2 tight ends in T.J. Hawkinson and Noah Fant. I think both of them can be big.
They're both from Iowa, aren't they?
Both are Iowa kids. I think both of them can have big rookie seasons. And I know the Patriots are looking for a tight end. If they don't go trade for a quarterback, then I could definitely see them either hopefully having one of them fall to 32 or moving up to get one of these big-time tight ends.
It's going to be fun to watch. Can't wait for it. And Dylan, you got anything else you want to add before we take off here?
Yeah, we were talking about the Raiders and the controversy with Antonio Brown, John Gruden, and Derek Carr. But one thing I have been looking into is since the 49ers have the 2nd pick and the Raiders have the 4th, there has been talk that the Raiders want to switch up to the 2nd pick and possibly draft Drew Lock.
Drew Lock over Haskins?
Yeah. And so
he went fake Gruden's.
One of my main predictions for this NFL season is I can see Derek Carr getting benched through half the season.
Really?
I was talking about that before the show. I think it's a big-time year for Derek Carr. He's either got to show John Gruden that he is the guy and can manage a team with a lot of personality, but if he does not and his progress hasn't been what it was before his injury, I can see this being his last year in Oakland and John Gruden going out to find his true quarterback that he wants to build around in Vegas.
That would be interesting to see. I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to Oakland, but I know Derek Carr, this year, especially getting Antonio Brown, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him there to win, just like there's going to be a lot of pressure on Baker and Cleveland to win right now. Those franchises kind of are in similar spots, and that's what we kind of talked about a little bit. But it is just a little bit after 3, so we are going to take off here. We still got another hour with you guys coming up. But Dylan, it has been a pleasure. We sure appreciate you stopping by.
It's always a pleasure.
Thanks for coming today.
Always a pleasure. I'm sure it will not be your last time. But stay tuned. We got another hour coming up with you guys right here.